All right, everybody. Good morning, evening, afternoon, middle of the night, wherever you are. There are definitely people in Australia who are like, "Hey, can you do a better time for us?" And I'm like, "Sorry, this is what we could do." John, where are you located?
I'm in London.
You're in London. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm here in New York City, and we've got definitely people from Denmark I see, and we've got people from all over. Can you guys put in the chat like where you're coming in from? We want to see where you all are located. Let's see here. We got Sweden, Denmark, New York, UK. Who's in New York with me? Denmark, Indiana, Alsace, France, Stockholm, Denmark, Norway, London, Vermont, Vancouver Island, Portugal, Copenhagen, Sweden, Denmark, Charlotte, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Singapore. All right. Canada, Costa Rica, Phoenix. Holy, yeah, we got people. Oh, and Croatia. So we got people from all over. This is really exciting. Thank you all for showing up for this. So before we get started, I wanted to say most webinars tend to be thin on content and then heavy on sort of pitching at the end. So we wanted to do something different here. We want to reverse that. So this webinar here is going to be heavy on the content, and then I mean the pitch. We can just kind of get the pitch out of the way right up front, if you're okay with that, John.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
the pitch is basically John is like a top-notch expert when it comes to helping someone who's already doing significant amounts of revenue, helping them, double that, and you can work with him in different ways, and that's basically the pitch. And the rest, I'll give you a second. A moment in a second to elaborate on that, but basically that's the pitch. So if you feel inclined to work with John after this call, go do that. I highly recommend that. And regardless, we want to help you get to the point where if you're not already making like $10,000 a month or something like that from your course, we want to get you to that point so that you would be eligible to work with John, and just give you as much content as we will, trusting that if we do a good job, demonstrating John's expertise, you'll want to work with him, right? Like, and if you don't, that's fine too. So that's kind of that's the gist of this talk here today. John is going to talk initially for a little bit, give an overview of his method, and then we'll open it up for questions for you guys. So use the reactions tab, raise your hand, and we will bring you in. You can ask your questions straight to John, and I'm happy to join in as well. Does that sound good, John?
Sounds great. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So yeah, John and I connected a while back, got introduced by a shared friend, and we've actually been working together on optimizing the product of Simplero to make it even easier to do some of the things that John recommend. And he's done a training as well that's available in Simplero University that you can watch. And just like, I was blown away with how methodical and insightful and smart John is. So I wanted to share him with you guys, and that's why we're here. So John, can you share a little bit about your background, clarify exactly what your offer is, and then we can get into the content?
Yeah, sure. So my background is I've been working on marketing and funnels for forever. Specifically with info products and courses for the last 4 or 5 years, something along those kind of lines. And we have a very business is called data-driven marketing. The whole approach we take is very data-driven. It's all about how do you figure out exactly what things are going to work the best so that you guys can get the most results in the quickest time. So what we're looking at is which tactics you should be using and why in what order, so that you can increase your revenue from your course sales. This is assuming you've already got a traffic source of some sort, whether it's SEO traffic to your website, or you've got a YouTube channel, or you've got a podcast. This is not about driving traffic. But once you've got the traffic and you've got the courses, how do you get the people in your audience to go and buy the courses? And how do you get them to buy more things from you? That's the basic idea of what we're trying to teach. And in terms of the offer, we've actually got something free for you guys. I'll mention it again at the end briefly, but if you go to pimpyourfunnel.com, and you put in details about your courses and your traffic, and your audience, we will figure out for you about how much more money you should be making and give you the specific tactics of what you should be working on. So we can do all that for you too. That's totally free.
Very cool. Thank you, John.
Shall I
yeah
crack on with the presentation or?
Yeah, do that, please.
All right, perfect. So let me pull that up.
Actually, before you do that, let's just hear in the chat. Are you more in need right now of traffic? Write traffic in the chat. Or if you're more in need of how to convert that traffic into sales, write convert in the chat. I just want to see where people are at. Traffic, convert. Will there be a recording? Yes, we are recording this. Traffic, convert, traffic and convert. Traffic, okay, need to convert, both convert, traffic. Okay, so we got definitely both here, but also definitely heavy on the conversion side. All right, that's fantastic. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, John, please crack on.
All right, cool. So let me share screen and then put it in slideshow. So we're looking at the overall approach of how to double your course revenue in under 2 months. And we did a training for Simplero users, and that is available. I think, Calvin, is in Simplero University. Is that right?
It is. I'll drop a link here so people have it. But yeah, go ahead.
So today's training is not going to go into all of the details because it's about like 45 minutes training that goes through like what the whole process is. But I'll give you the overall summary for anybody who hasn't watched it. For anybody who has watched it, it'll be a little reminder of what those top tactics are and why it matters. And then we'll get into the details in the Q&A session. So who is this for? This is for you if you're an online course creator or you've got info products and you've got traffic already. So you've got traffic from SEO or YouTube or a podcast or from blogging or from books or whatever it is. And you're already making sales. So this isn't about how do you make a great course and check you've got good product market fit and that people will like your course. This is like, you've already got started, you've got going a little ways. So what's next? So people are loving your courses, but you're a bit stuck and you're at the point where you're thinking, I've made these great courses and I've built up this audience and they're not buying at the rate that I was expecting they would. How do I get more of those people to buy stuff from me? Then this is going to be perfect for you. And the kind of emotions that we see people feeling at this stage is a lot of frustration. Like, well, I did all the things that people said about in terms of the courses. I made a great course. I figured out what my audience wanted. I became an expert in a topic, all of these things. And I've done all the work around building the audience. You know, I've put out the content on my blog every day, or I've created YouTube videos. So I've been podcasting for a year and a half and I've built up his audience and they're not buying as much as I want them to. That can get very frustrating. And I see this a lot from people who are like, it feels like I should be making more than what I'm currently making. This doesn't seem to add up. So that's kind of the normal state. And if that's you, I totally get it. That's totally normal. Do not, you know, you can feel like you're amongst friends here. Everybody I talk to all the time is in this kind of situation. So I get where you're coming from. You can chill. So now we're going to look into funnels. And so what is a funnel? What does it mean when you're talking about a funnel? Because that's what we're going to be using. Funnels and email marketing are the two different tactics. And if you watch the full training, then you'll see that loads of details about each of those parts. But a funnel, this is generally how it's represented in blog posts or what have you. You have a lot of traffic at the top. So that's that green layer coming into your website. And then some of those people get into your email list and people from the email list get to your sales page and then to the checkout page and then they buy. So it's like all the different levels of your funnel. And it normally looks really neat and tidy and organized like this. But in reality, most people's funnels are more like this. And there's just money and traffic peeing out left, right, and center. And this is the standard. This is the normal. Most people are leaving about 80% of the profit on the table. So this is what most people I talk to have got in place already. And so if this, as we talk through it, if this seems familiar to you, then this is just normal. This is where most people are. You've got website, you've got traffic coming in from somewhere. It could be Google or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, goes over to your website. On your website, you've got sales pages for your courses and an order page and a thank you page. And you've also got some kind of a newsletter or a lead magnet. So an opt-in, and after that, there's a thank you page. Maybe you've then got a few welcome emails that go out to people automatically from MailChimp or, that would be through Simplero in this case. And then a weekly newsletter going out. And then 3 times a year, most people are doing the promotion. So, and that's normally people are sending like 1 to 3 emails, maybe it's Black Friday, something like that, saying there's a promotion going on. You can get the courses at a discount, go to the sales page, then that takes you to an order page, then that takes you to a thank you page. And this is what nearly everybody has. And you could have a better system than that. But the thing is, there's about 1,000 things that you could do. And there's so many people out there on the internet giving you 1,000 different tactics, and you could do video sales letters, and you could do webinars and sideways sales letters, and you could work on long form stuff, and you can work on copywriting, and like all of this stuff that you can do. So the problem with that is, which ones of them should you choose? Which is going to have the biggest bang for your buck? What's going to make the biggest difference? We're looking for the 80-20. What's the 20% of the effort that can get you the 80% of the results? So what order do you do these in matters an enormous amount. So what are the ones that work? So this is the basic principle to understand while you're figuring out which things to work on. So what we're trying to do is somewhere between 2 and 5 times the amount of money that you're making per month from your course sales on average. That's the goal. And that's what nearly everybody who goes through our group coaching program, that's what the average is they normally get. I think if you add up everybody, it works out as 4.86 times increase in revenue. Some people are at the 2 times end, some are at the 5 times end, and then occasional ones are like, 20 times as much. But that's what we're looking to do. So what's stopping you? There's 3 things that are in your way right now, assuming you've got traffic and good courses. Top one is your revenue per sale that you make is too low. So the amount of money you make every time you make a sale is currently too low. And I'll talk you through that in a minute. Second one is you're not making enough overall sales. And the third one is your email list is too small. Now, if you fix that and you have high revenue per sale, more sales to your email list and a bigger list, then you will 2 to 5 times your revenue. If you put all of those things together, then that is totally doable. So why do I say about high revenue per sale? Most people, what they've got is when someone buys something, they don't offer anything else you could buy to go with it. They just say, okay, that's great. You've bought this. That's it. Move on. And then later on, we might promote something else. You might go past something else. But built into Simplero, you can do something called order bumps and upsells. And if you want the full details of that, if you haven't watched the full training, then I go into a lot of detail, loads of case studies and examples. And if you've got questions about it, we'll cover that today. We can go through as well. But order bumps and upsells are the first thing to do always. And that's what allows you to get higher revenue per sale. Second thing, in terms of making more sales, is about making more promotions to your email list. And the basic principle here is every month you should be making some kind of promotion to your email list. But the problem, of course, and everybody has the same fear, is if I make a promotion every month, everyone will get annoyed and they'll unsubscribe and I'll be spammy and salesy. So if you're thinking that, then that's totally normal. What you need to do is do good promotions where there's useful content and an offer built into the same emails. So each person who's getting those emails is delighted to be receiving them because there's great content in there and there's a promotion of one of your courses. And then the third thing in terms of building the big list, there's a ton of really, really specific tactics for converting more of your email list, so your visitors, website visitors, onto getting onto your email list. But the basic principle is put your lead magnet in more places on your website and on your social media. So for anybody who's not watched the full training, that might have seemed like a super fast run through of like what these tactics are. But this overall is kind of designed. The idea was like for answering questions to go into more detail. So just as a reminder, in order, the things to do are order bumps, then upsells, improve your checkout experience, send regular email promotions, increase your opt-in rate by putting the lead magnet in more places, improve your offer. This is way down the list. This is getting into more advanced tactics, optimize your sales page, and then finally set up what's called a TRIPWIRE funnel. But the crucial thing here is each of these steps, and the reason they're in this order is because the very early ones are really, really easy to do. So if you don't have order bumps and you set them up, what you're going to find is within a couple of days, if you're already making sales every day, then within a couple of days, you're going to have additional sales of these order bumps. And it's very, very easy to set up. Upsells, similarly, you can set this up in a few days. And it's almost immediately going to lead to more sales because 10 to 20% of people will buy the upsell as well. So we've deliberately put the
I just want to add, like these are super easy to do in Simplero, right? Like the order bumps, the upsells, all that stuff, so easy. And we've done it with numerous things in the past. And like the order bumps tend to convert really well. Like people check that box and they want that thing. So highly recommend it. And as you're talking about this, like I'm like, You know what? We should totally have an order bump when you sign up for Simplero itself. Like we don't do that today. Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. So just to explain the order bumps quickly for everybody, they on the checkout page, you have an additional tick box that someone can tick and it adds something else to their cart. So you take one of your existing products, you add it as set up as an order bump in Simplero. And then when someone's checking out, they have the option to tick the box and also add something else to cart, and it increases your average revenue per sale. And people don't have to buy it, but if they want to, then they can. It's very easy for them. So that's the overall process. We're going to Q&A, and like I said, pimpyourfunnel.com is the website address where if you fill in about 10 or 12 questions about your course business, then we will figure out for you how much more money you could be making and what tactics you should be using and in what order. And someone in my team may well also record a personalized video for you explaining the details about it. So it's like a very helpful. I really recommend doing it, and it's totally free. Excellent. So with that said, anything else from your side, Calvin, or should we go into
well, I have a question, and Jennifer has a question, and anybody else, raise your hand and using the reactions tab. So it looks like this. You can see there's like a little raised hand next to me now. And then I'm going to lower that hand. Actually, I'm going to raise it because I have a question for you, which is, so what are effective order bumps? Like what is an example of an order bump that would sell, that would convert, that would work?
Yeah. So if you're selling a course, then a good order bump is a workbook that goes with the course. So that's a really good starting point. The crucial thing here, though, is it's something that goes with what they're already buying that enhances the value of it and isn't already included. So you're selling a course, sell a workbook. If you're selling a workbook, sell the course that goes with it. If you have a Q&A session that you did with somebody else or a collection of podcast episodes, that could go with it as well. You're selling an ebook, then the order bump might be the audio book. It's like an additional thing that fits with what you're already selling. Mm-hmm. But one of the most important things to understand is don't make anything new unless you absolutely have to. Make a list of what's all of your existing products and really list it out. Don't just stop at like, okay, I can think of these three, that's it. It's like, what's anything you've ever sold? Is there ever any time that you did a webinar that you recorded and then maybe you did it for free at the time, but you could offer that here? Like everything you can think of, write it all out. I generally do this in a spreadsheet because we do lots of stuff in spreadsheets. And then in the next column, we'll put like, well, what might that go with? Like what else is a good company? Which courses do I have? And what other products have I got? And what could I mix and match and put together? The biggest problem I see here is people go and start making new things. And then course creators are notorious for this. They love making courses and therefore will go off and spend time making a course instead of making more money. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is start with what you've got and add that. And maybe later on, you'll come back and make the perfect order bump, in 3 months or 6 months. But in the meantime, you make more money now, this week, this month.
That's great. I love that. And what's a good price point for an order bump?
Rule of thumb, about a third of the price of your main product you're selling. So if you're selling a course for $99, have an order bump for 37. So if you've got something that currently sells for between like $50 and 100 or 150, then you fit it in there somehow. You give a big discount generally when you do something as an order bump. It's not a hard and fast rule. We've had order bumps that are actually more expensive than the product that someone's already buying. So they're buying a cheap product for like $17, let's say, and then the order bump is for 47. Like that also is possible. So don't feel like, oh, I can't do anything because I haven't got something that's exactly a third of the price. But as a good rule of thumb, something like that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, and in Simplero, you just go to product, and then there's a tab when you're editing your product that says upsells, and under there is the option of just adding an order bump. You just say, give it a title, a description. You can pick a color, make it stand out, and then what is the product? What's the price? And boom, it's done. Like it's going to be on that checkout form from then on. It literally takes you 5-7 minutes, including writing some copy. And this is not like order bumps don't require a ton of copy, right? People are sort of in the mood. They're there. They're ready to buy. So yeah, super easy. Very good. Thank you so much. David's asking if there will be a replay. Yes, we're recording this. It'll probably go in Simplero University, I think, or you might sell it as an order bump at some point. Who knows? Jennifer's asking, is upsell and order bump the same thing?
So no, they're absolutely not. So an order bump is, from a user's point of view, it's on the checkout page and there's a tick box. An upsell is on the confirmation page. So someone's gone to the checkout page, they've put their credit card details in, they press submit. They now go to a confirmation page. The upsell is on the confirmation page. So you'll have at the very top something saying, thank you for buying product X. It's on its way to your email right now. You're going to absolutely love it. It's fantastic. People have had great results with it. While you're here, here's something else you might also find useful. And so that's the position in the process. So you're offering them something else that they could also buy as the next step. And generally with an upsell, from a product point of view, what you're looking at is what is the next step they might want to take. They've just bought the beginner course, offer them the intermediate course, or offer them a bundle. Or if they're buying a membership and they've bought a monthly membership, offer them a quarterly or an annual one as the upsell. Something more of what they've already got. They've just bought one challenge from you. Let's say you do a monthly challenge. They've bought one. The upsell might be buy the whole year's worth. That kind of thing. And again, don't come up with a new product for it. Go through and figure out what have you already got and set something up to get started.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, John. Again, hit the raise hand on the reactions tab if you wanna ask directly of John. If not, we're just gonna keep going through the comments here. Christy is asking, what's the most effective way to add a promotion to your content emails in a PS or some other method?
So I would suggest having a specific series of emails that is around the promotion that includes that mixture of the content and promotion in them. So it's not just existing emails that you're already sending out. You're going to do a new series specifically for this. And the framework to use for it is gain, logic, fear, going, going, gone. And so I'll talk you through what each of those is, but each of them serves a different job in the process. So the gain one is talking about what is their life going to be like if they solve this problem. Now, you're not pitching your course directly here. What you're saying is there is a problem in your life. Let's say you're selling dog training courses, and the problem is that that they have a dog that is misbehaving around other dogs. And so what you're selling here is the overall improvement in their life in the future, what their life is going to look like in a day, in a week, in 3 weeks, in 6 months, in a year, if they solve this problem. So you're trying to solve them on solving the problem. And because you're an expert in this area, let's say you've been a dog trainer for 10 years, you know what that looks like. You know how much better someone's life could be. You know how much more enjoyable it can be, whereas they don't have that perspective. So you're detailing that, you're laying that out for them, you're showing what the gain is going to be. And within that email, kind of top and bottom would be nice places to put it. This week only, there's a 30% discount on our course that can help you to do this. And so for those people that want to get that, then great, they go ahead. But for those who don't, it's still useful content. But crucially here, the useful content is also moving them towards the sale. So you're doing multiple things all at the same time that all line up together. So the logic one is then, why do they need to fix this problem? Like, what is it logically that's going to be better about their life if they do it? So rather than it being more of a looking at the future, it's more like a present and thinking through in terms of facts and figures. And then the third one, the fear, that makes it sound a little more aggressive than it actually is. It's more, what's the things that might be worse in their life if they don't fix it? What are they currently afraid of? What you want to show empathy, what emotions are they going through? Show that you understand that, and that can be solved if they just manage to do these things. And within that, you might include a tip as well about, okay, so here's what you could do next. Here's one thing, just some little snippet from your course. All of those 3 emails, top and tail them with, and our course is on discount, and a little bit about it, just a couple of lines. The next 3, going, going, gone, are more the standard kind of promotional thing. So what we're looking for here is things like a case study. So who's somebody who's gone through that course and what's the result that they got and how has their life changed? So it's useful, it's still good content, but it's more aimed at the people who are actually interested in buying. And then the second one might have in it frequently asked questions that people have about that course, or more testimonials or benefits and features, that kind of thing. And then the last one is very, very short. It just says, don't forget, the discount's going to end in 3 hours. Go and grab the course now before the price goes back up again. And so those are your 6 emails, and you send those out over 5 days, normally Monday through Friday. So 1 email a day, and then on the last day of the Friday, 3 hours before the discount ends, you're sending out that extra email there. And that's the overall sequence. And that ties together great, useful content about that topic, and moving people, that also moves people towards the sale and giving the discount. And so you're making sales.
Phenomenal. That's so good, so clear. Great question. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I've said that in the emails, but we have prizes and swags for the best questions. This was a great one. We have all kinds of stuff. We got t-shirts, we've got copies of my book, which I have lying around somewhere here. Let me see here. There we go. Copies of my book. We might throw in a free month of Simplero to someone. We got lots of ideas for prizes. We got some courses that we have that are phenomenal. We got like the course launch accelerator, which is really fantastic. We've got an integrated entrepreneurship masterclass. So there's going to be prizes for great questions, bonus for raising your hand and actually asking the question live. But thank you for that. Oh, and you know what else we can do? For US based people, we can do body meal, which is, I just got this product. This is my side business. This is a meal replacement powder from Denmark that I am licensing and manufacturing and marketing in the US. I'm having some here for breakfast. So I can only do that in the US, unfortunately, because food regulations and all that stuff, but that's a prize as well. So we've got some great prizes. I'll make note of who's asking the questions and make sure that you get those. All right. So again, hit reactions and raise your hand. All right. So next question here was
Ronnie's raised his hand.
Oh, wait, I'm not seeing that. Why am I not seeing the raised hand? Who has a raised hand?
Ronnie Harper.
Oh, it's because there's no video. That's what it is. Okay, let's see here. All right, Ronnie, there we go. Thank you, John. Ronnie, you should be able to, oh, there we go. Unmute. Hey. There we go. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, just checking. Order bumps and upsells, both in one product or keep them separate?
Yeah, always have both. Yeah. I mean, start with order bumps, put order bumps for everything that you're currently selling that is already making sales, or if you're doing a promotion of it. And then after you've done order bumps for everything, go back through and do upsells. Some people will do multiple upsells. They'll have upsell 1, upsell 2, what have you. We don't ever do that. We just do one upsell. We figure that's enough. Like, obviously there is a balance. You don't want to make it all kind of weird and awkward for people to be able to go through the process. But yes, absolutely have both. And what we found is people who buy order bumps are then also way more likely to buy upsells as well. I think it's something like 5 or 6 times as likely to buy the upsells too. So definitely people buy both.
Interesting. I did not know that stat. That's good to know. All right. Do we have other raised hands here? Thank you, Ronnie. We don't in this moment. All right. Then we've got a question from Tariq saying, thanks for the opportunity. Is highly designed sales page crucial to have a high value, compelling content and offering?
It's not crucial. And in fact, the copy is more important than the design, but it does help. Having a really nicely designed sales page that looks professional, where people trust you more, absolutely helps. It all adds up. That makes sales go up. But the thing to start with is not the design. The thing to start with is the copy. And so there are 15 crucial elements on a sales page, and most sales pages are missing a bunch of these elements. And I'm going to see if I can pull up. I'll put it up during the next question. We've got like a little document that's got what those 15 crucial elements are. And so I'll find all of those for you. But it's things like a great compelling headline, a sub headline that explains that in the benefits in a bit more detail, calling out the audience and explaining who this is for, great testimonials, a call to action that's really simple and strong about what they need to do next, frequently asked questions. So there's none of these are rocket science, but just most people are missing a bunch of them, and you don't have them in place. So that is the starting point. Go through and look at a really good sales page and kind of look at what is all the stuff they've got that's answering each of those sections, and then write something similar. Once you've got it written, then fit it into the design rather than starting with the design and going the other way around. So I'll drop into the chat an example of a sales page that's working well. I will pull that up in just a minute, actually. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I'll have to
Excellent.
do that while Calvin's talking. I'll go find an example of one of those.
Well, the next thing I'm going to say is I'm going to read the next question. So I want to make sure that we get
So it doesn't give me a lot of time.
No. Yeah.
All right. Well, I found the PDF. That was enough time.
All right. Perfect.
So I'm downloading that and I'll put that into the chat. Can you put PDFs into the chat?
I don't know if not, you can email it to me. I can get it to people.
Okay, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah, give it a shot.
All right, it's uploading now. So that's the 15 crucial elements.
Nice.
Has that worked? Can you see that? It's giving me some kind of a message. Yeah, it says it's uploaded. So that's cool.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it looks like it's there. Very good. Excellent.
Sales pages I'll get in about 20 seconds. Just looking in people.
All right, let me know when you're ready for the next question, John.
Okay, I think that I found the page for an example sales page. So this is a sales page for one of our clients. I think this is an up-to-date live one. And you'll see that this has it'll have all 15 elements that are mentioned there and explain. You can kind of see how much info is written about each of them. Oh, I can see another couple on there that's like, it's got a guarantee on there. It's got details about the course, all these kind of things, benefits of buying it. So if you have a look at that and use that PDF, then together you should be able to see like what kind of text you put in each of those steps.
All right, perfect.
All right, cool.
Thank you, John. All right, next question is from Meta. She says, what if it doesn't work? A lot of our customers do exactly what you're saying, but at the moment it doesn't work.
I mean, the worst thing that happens if it doesn't work, if someone puts up an order bump and people don't buy it, is that then you just don't make sales with that. So there's nothing bad that's happened. You haven't like, nothing's gone backwards. The only thing you've lost is the time doing it. I don't often see that though, that it doesn't work. That doesn't tend to come up. Like I had a client who he started working with us in our group coaching program, and he came on, we did the audit. First of all, we always do an audit first step. And we went through that and we told him we needed to have order bumps and upsells, but we hadn't given him details of like what they should be or how to do it or what should be written on the text or anything like that. Before the first coaching session, he'd gone away and set them up and he started making sales like the same day. So it's like, that's the normal kind of response that we see. Now, what you might see is the conversion rate is not amazing to start with. So what we're looking for with an order bump and an upsell is 30 to 60% conversion rate. 30 to 60% of the people who buy the main course also buy the order bump. But you might start, and we had a client like this recently, she started and only had like a 10% conversion rate because it wasn't quite the perfect product and the text maybe wasn't quite right and so on. But she's still making an extra 10% of sales of this thing. So that's still money that's coming in. It's just not as much as she wanted. So the idea is what you do is you work through that whole list of 8 things that I showed. And then once you implemented everything, then you go back and you start optimizing it. But what a lot of people make a mistake with is they try and optimize on version 1. It's almost impossible for version 1 to be amazing. So what you're looking to do is make version 1 just be better than what you've currently got. And then later on, you go back and you make version 2 and you make it a bit better, and version 3, you make it a bit better. And you've got data by then. So you've had the order bump or the upsell or whatever on sale for long enough to see, well, was it converting well? Or did it look like it wasn't, but actually after a week, a bunch of people bought in one go and it worked out? You know, you need enough data to go through to be able to say how well something's working. So that's our normal kind of experience with it. That's how I normally see it happen.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, I'd also be curious, like, what does it doesn't work mean, right? Like, there's a lot of steps here. Obviously, if people aren't buying the order bump, then somehow it's mispositioned or mispriced or like miscommunicated in some way. So that would be my approach, like drill into it. Moving on though, Tiger is saying, please make add-ons and order bumps conditional based on customer tags. So I'd love your thoughts on that, John. Does that, like, do you ever find yourself doing that you show different order bumps depending on who the customer is, who the buyer is?
No, I mean, it's a lovely idea, but it's way too complicated. There's like so many things that are more important than fixing that. Like that's the perfect idea. Perfect idea, right? So someone's already bought this product, so you don't show it to them again as an upsell. That sounds great. But in the meantime, if you're not sending out great email promotions or your sales page isn't good enough, then it's like, well, why are we even talking about this? This is one of those things. I said there's 1,000 things you can do. This is one of the 1,000 that isn't in the top 8. As I just like it's great, and I'd love the idea of it, but I think you'd have to have so many other things set up brilliantly before you got to that I can't even think it happening in the first 2-3 years of working on this kind of thing.
Right. Good point. Good point. Thank you, John. Kara's saying she doesn't have the raise hand reaction. We saw that Ronnie had it. Does anybody else not find it? It should be, there's like clap and all that stuff. There should be like at the bottom, this like horizontal bar that says raise hand. Oh, there we go. Kenneth found it. Let's hear Kenneth. Let's see here.
It's Kenneth proving that it worked.
Yeah, exactly. Good job, man. There we go. What's up, Kenneth?
Oh, somehow.
Oh, we can't hear you. Actually, Kenneth. You're not muted, but we still can't hear you.
All right. Now, did this work better?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So much better.
I'll just simulate.
Yeah, right.
But that didn't work. I got your attention. All right. Anyway, I was thinking about doing a challenge where I want to investigate what courses people want. How would I do that in Simplero, which is basically a Zoom thing like this?
Wait, do a challenge where, say that again?
Where I kind of like figure out what kids, people want as courses that I can sell them services.
How would it be? Where would you put that in the challenge? How does it fit into the challenge?
That's the concept of where I would, well, I'll try to answer some questions that I get from people and see what that raises of interests. I'm trying to figure out how to generate some courses and figure out what to sell.
I can answer that, I think, more from like a conceptual point of view, and then Calvin might be better in terms of like technically like what the steps are in terms of setting that up. So there's a couple of ways that you figure out what courses people want. One of them is qualitative data and the other one is quantitative. So with the challenge, the stuff that you're talking about, I would see that more as a qualitative kind of thing, because you're going to actually be talking to people. They're going to be asking questions. They're going to be coming to you and saying, this is the problem I have. And you'll get a better understanding of what kind of things they're struggling with. We don't do any of the work around building the courses for people. So I couldn't say in terms of actually structuring the challenge and what your challenge might be. And obviously I don't know your niche or anything like that.
No,
but if you've got, sounds like you got that. Okay, cool. So during that, if people are bringing up topics and you then start digging into it with them, that's going to give you data with it in terms of like understanding the kind of general area that they want help with. The next thing I would definitely recommend doing is then doing a survey to your whole audience and saying, right, great, we've had this feedback and this were like 3 different areas that people were interested in. I want to get an idea of which of these are the top ones that I should make a course on first, and ask, which of this is the things you're most interested in. I also generally would go a bit further and then do like a pre-sale of whatever the top one was to be absolutely sure that people want to buy it before I make it, because making a course takes ages. And it's like, I don't want to make it unless I'm sure people are going to buy it. And so all those kind of steps, is that helpful from a conceptual point of view? Cool.
Yeah. All right, good. I don't have anything to add. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kenneth. Let's hear from Roger, King of Kings. How cool is that?
Hey, Roger. I think you're muted at the moment.
Yeah. You should be able to unmute if this thing is working correctly. There we go.
There we go.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes.
All good.
Hi, John and Calvin. Nice webinar.
Thank you, Roger.
Yes, Roger, King of Kings here.
Yes.
I have a question for you, John. What's the best strategy to promote and sell a change method or a course which benefits a company internal problems, internal culture and values? Is it what's the best strategy
Interesting. Okay, so talk me through who is in your audience from within that company. Do you have an email list of people at those kind of companies?
It's possible to get it on LinkedIn.
Okay, so you don't currently have the audience for that.
I can, maybe it's ways to find it, you know. But in this with this Simplero, we first make a free course, and that's maybe the way into the company. And but how is the best strategy to come into the company?
Who's the decision maker?
Yeah, change maker within the culture inside.
Yeah, who's the decision maker on that within the company? Does it tend to be somebody in HR? Is it the CEO? Who's the person you want to reach?
Probably it will be the CEO, because everything it's so important to be connected from the CEO position.
What's the kind of price point on the course?
The price point? Well, it can be £3,000 maybe, or something.
Okay, so at £3,000, you're going to be looking at a phone call. So generally, anything above about $2,000 or £2,000 is going to be a phone call sale rather than a sale online. Anything, as a rule of thumb, anything up to about 500 is you can sell via email. 500 to 2,000 tends to be via a webinar, and then 2,000 plus tends to be maybe a webinar plus phone call, or a phone call.
But would you recommend to make a webinar or something, or another strategy?
Yeah, so a webinar is a great approach to take. The downside with a webinar is that it takes a lot of work to get a really good one. And it sounds like you're kind of more early stage at the moment, and you need to prove this out and check that you've got exactly the right audience and that you know how to talk to them and the messaging right. If you do the webinar first, you may well need to go back and do the webinar again. So you've got a number of, this is the position you're in at the moment. There's a number of things that you need to figure out. And the tricky bit is going to figure out in what order, and you might need to iterate and go back kind of round and round. So what I would suggest to start with, anybody from your network, anybody you already have warm introductions to, connections, in order to be able to start getting them on the phone, start talking to them about the problem, see if you can make some sales via those phone calls, and then go out to like a slightly wider network. Can you manage to get those guys onto a phone call via referrals? And then once you kind of started to make some sales and you've got it figured out a bit, you'll have the messaging better. And then you can put together a webinar, and then you might use LinkedIn or something to get people onto the webinar. But there's a bunch of work up ahead of you in terms of figuring all of those steps out. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. So you don't have a straight strategy for attending these companies in a way.
100% not. It's not a straight line thing. It's going to be zigzagging and going around and figuring it out and dead ends, and because there's so much about that audience that you have to figure out in order to then get all of the other steps right in terms of the webinar and what have you. You can't just go to the answer on this one.
Because you can also make a video like Coca-Cola has, the taste the feeling, in a way you can taste what's the course is about, compared to the values to the company and things like that, to get them on the to get the interests in a way.
Yeah, you don't know your audience well enough to be able to do that yet. You need to go through that process.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, John. So on that note, John, like when you're selling to a business audience in that way, is that materially different from selling to like smaller businesses or consumers? Like it's still a person who's the decision maker who needs to buy the thing, right? Is there?
Yeah. So what we're typically doing is we're helping people who are selling courses to an audience that they already have, and and it's at a price point where you can sell it via email. That's the people we're typically working with. Then you've got a couple of other stages. So like I said, there's the more expensive courses that you sell via a webinar. So we don't do webinars with people generally. And then you've got the even more expensive ones where you need to sell it via a phone call. And so each of those is a different model. There's a different funnel. There's a different process in order to be able to go through that and set it up. In terms of the psychology of it, the psychology is all still the same, right? It's like you say, you're still selling to a person. It's still a product, and so we've got clients who are selling B2B. So we've got clients who are selling maybe to a small business, and they're selling, there's one guy selling a course about Google shopping ads. So he is an expert in Google shopping ads, and he works with the e-commerce brands who are doing that. He's done it as a consultant for years, and then he started doing blogging, and he built up an audience, and then he started selling courses about it. And the process for that is exactly the same as it is with one of our clients selling a language learning course or a dog training course or a singing course or whatever it is. Exactly the same process. But then at some point, he wanted to sell a group coaching program too, which was $5,000. And then the process changes. At that point, you need to get on a phone call with somebody in order to sell it. And so you might use the webinar you might do emails to a webinar to a phone call at that stage. So the structure of it is different.
Mm-hmm. There's more a factor of price point than like who's buying it. Right? Yeah. All right. Very good. So we have about like a little less than 15 minutes late. We got some great questions in here. We're going to keep going through them. The way to shortcut it and get ahead of the queue is to raise your hand. So I just want to offer that again. Very good. Let me see. There was a raised hand actually, which is Mindset English. So I'm gonna invite Mindset English to come on and ask the question.
Yes.
There we go.
Hi guys.
Hi. What's your name?
Layla.
Layla.
Hey, Layla.
Hey, Layla.
Yes. Hi guys. So thank you for this chance for letting me come on and just kind of pick your brains at something, I guess. So I have set up my course. I teach English, the English language, and I've set up my course through Simplero, which has been great. It's a yearly course. But the problem I'm finding is that I can't sell it to get people to come in as groups. So what I have now is like one-on-ones, but I can't really get new clients to be a part of this new idea that I want where it's, they're grouped.
Okay, so the problem that you've got is selling them on the benefit of it, and they'd rather have one-to-one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what to look at here, right, is what is the benefit to them of it being done in a group setting versus being done one-to-one? And there are a list of them. There's a load of different benefits that people can have. And you can actually go back and sell this to your one-to-one clients as well, who already signed up on that, as long as you can make the offer compelling enough. So we used to do one-to-one coaching, and then we started doing group coaching for what we're teaching people about building these funnels. And in the one-to-one, people would have a session, let's say once a week, where they would come and talk with us, and then they could email us questions in between. And when we set it up as group coaching, we got multiple different coaches from our side. Now, this might be different for you, right? But I want to give you the kind of example of what some of the ways that you can make it more compelling. We had multiple of our different coaches involved. So instead of just having the strategy coach, we also had a copywriting coach and an automation coach come and get involved in it as well. So people could ask any of those people questions. And we set up a Slack group for them so that they could ask questions in between the weekly calls, and they would get them answered really quickly. So those would get answered much faster than when it was being done via email before. And we had a community of other people who were going through the same thing and were also trying to learn about funnels and email marketing. And they would learn from each other. And so they would learn from each other on the calls, but then they would also learn from each other in between, because people would help each other and say, oh, I did an order bump like that, and I had that same problem, but actually then I tried this thing and that was better. And so they're getting that encouragement from their peers. And that was also really useful. And so we're like layering all of these other benefits on top of like, how are we going to help people more? So there's community, and there's more coaches, and there's calls are going on more often, because we can do calls more often when it's group versus doing it one-to-one. And because we've got so many people involved, we actually were making a bigger profit per person. So we could put some of that back in. And so we're able to raise the standard and also be making a better profit from it. So that's like anything that you can do like that, you can sell to them. Now, with going from getting people who are currently in one-to-one, you can actually offer this to them and make the point to them and say, look, I honestly believe that we've made this group coaching program twice as good as our old one-to-one program. And I want to offer you the chance to come and try that at the current price, or, the cheaper price, or whatever, however you're pricing the group, for a month. And if you don't like it, you can just go back to the one-to-one stuff afterwards. And that will be a test for you. Did you actually manage to make the group better than the one-to-one? Because you should be able to. That should be possible. And then you can manage to get your current people in, and that saves your time and it improves the product and what have you.
That is so great. So, because what I was doing was focusing too much on selling the group by the fact that it was cheaper, and that didn't work. So I know what you mean. I've got to layer so much more benefits to it. So yes, thank you so much. I'll take that on board.
No worries.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, I was just gonna jump in and say the same thing. That's fantastic. That's a great idea, right? Like the tendency is to think like, oh, this is probably less valuable, and so they really want the other thing. And so if you're approaching it from that mindset, well, that's what you're going to project, and that's what people are going to hear, and so they're not going to be as interested. So
I'd also say, if you currently got it as cheaper, I would consider making the group coaching program the same price as what you're currently charging for one-to-one, and then making the group phenomenal, and then make your one-to-one more expensive. Because that's what we did. We said, right, it used to be $1,900 a month for the one-to-one coaching, and then we made the group coaching $1,900 a month and made it way better than the one-to-one. And then we carried on doing one-to-one, but made that $5,000 a month. So like that's a kind of a way round of structuring it.
Right. Good stuff. All right. So I think that's a great segue into, can you elaborate for people how they can work with you? If they're, what is required for them to be eligible to work with you, and how does it work?
Yeah, so we need, for someone to come and work with us, what we need more than anything is for them to already have a good traffic source. So that could be, like I said, they've got a YouTube channel or SEO traffic or what have you. So if people don't have that, then we're not going to be the right fit at the moment. You know, that's why we do these free trainings to kind of help people understand what to do on their own. If someone's got that, then even if they haven't got courses yet, if they've got a decent sized audience, then we can help them to implement this whole system. And we do a group coaching program where we support people to go through it. And we do that on a totally risk-free basis. So people only pay us a percentage of the additional money that we help them to make. So let's say someone's making $10,000 at the moment, and they implement our system and we get them to $20,000, then we would only take a percentage of the $10,000 extra that they've made for as long as we're working together. And so this does mean that we're quite picky about who we work with. And so part of the process is, if someone's interested in that and they want to know, well, might I be a good fit? Have I got a big enough audience? Have I got enough courses? What have you? Start at the same place as I mentioned at the beginning, pimpyourfunnel.com. Fill in the form. And then based on the answers, we will be able to tell you if we'd be a good fit, if we'd be able to work together. And if we would, then we'll drop you an email with details of how to book the call. And if we're not, you still get the free report anyway.
All right. So good. Okay. We got one more raised hand. Jennifer, I'm going to click here. You should be able to get on. Let's see if that works.
Hey, Jennifer, you're muted still. Oh, there we go.
Here I am. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking my question. So, quick question for you. I'm coming from more of a different perspective. I am an online business manager, and I run a lot of my clients who do course creations, or they also do, like one specific client I have, she does master classes. We use Simplero for them to purchase the classes, but they're actually in-person classes. So now I'm trying to convert those people who've taken her class, the one-on-one in person, to a virtual course library, which is what we'll be using Simplero for through memberships. But my thing I'm having a problem is price pointing it, because when we're selling the master classes, we're selling it at $35,000 to $4,000. But when they want to come back, like you said, you want to go back to the people who've already purchased with you. It's how do I price the memberships now? Because now they're not getting that one-on-one, they're getting more virtual, but they'll still have that information at hand. So just trying to find the price point of taking them to a virtual content opposed to having that one-on-one feel.
And how much did you say stuff is costing at the moment? You said $35,000 to $4,000. That's
yes.
$35 to $4,000. That's quite
$3,500.
No, $3,500 and $4,000.
Got it. Okay, cool. So this is going to be just having access to the library, no one-to-one coaching involved anymore.
No, yes, that's right, because it's so hard for her to, she has to focus on the master class. So I'm still trying to make more money to the people who have been signing up. And we have such a very healthy following and subscribers, but we're not utilizing them now because everyone's been coming to her doing the one-on-one class. All that traffic's been driving to that. So I'm trying to maximize on the back end, but I don't know how I will price point these memberships.
Yeah. So there's no group coaching, there's no community, it's just access to the trainings, right?
It's just access to trainings, different protocols, different, just videos that she's done over the past. Now, maybe we are thinking about including her on the virtual coaching end, once she slows down with the one-on-one, that could be an option.
I would think if you're looking at an annual price, this is just going to be off the top of my head, right? So I would say if you're doing one-to-one coaching for $3,500, then this is definitely like access to this for a year has definitely got to be under $1,000. So I would think, like if you're then going to make it a good deal for a year, like you may be looking at, you might start at 500, maybe you try going up if people are buying it at that price. So then at a monthly basis, you're probably looking at somewhere between 40, 50 and $100 a month, something in that kind of ballpark. Now, I don't know your audience to know what's at a price point they're going to be really happy paying for, but that would be my instinct, is something kind of around that, at least as a test,
Okay. I would definitely do the upsell and the order bump you made a great point when you do the membership offer, like, hey, why don't you guys take it to a quarterly or annually and take it for $1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. All right. So I think that's all we get to today. So John, again, if people want to work with you, what's the next thing that they need to do right now?
Next thing is go to pimpyourfunnel.com, fill in the form.
All right, cool. And if you do work with John, just let him know that you came from here, and he'll maybe be happy, and I'll be happy that we've been able to share some traffic and
extra special Simplero love. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And there might be a slight, a little bit in it for us if you do mention us, but there's no affiliate link or anything. So it's just like on a trust basis. I also do want to, I dropped in a discount code for Body Meal for anybody who's US based and want to give it a try, 25% off using the code in stock. You can grab the link right there, bodymeal.us. I have to pitch that. But I think that's it. So type in the chat order bumps if you're going to go implement some order bumps next. Type in the chat order bump. I want to see that from everybody. All right, I'm going to type order bump myself because we're going to add an order bump to sign up for a trial for Simplero. Like, why the hell would we not do that? Yeah, great. Thank you. Nice. And then let's hear also what's the biggest takeaway for everybody today? Let's see that so that John can see what, and I can see what most resonated with you. Biggest takeaway, just in one short phrase from everybody. I want to see in the chat. Use what you have, says George. Yes, product listing. All right, order bump. Function, create and repeat. Process for high ticket items is email, webinar, phone call. Product listing, make more money before you make more courses. Use what you have in upsells. Refine, keep refining a process. The first try can't be perfect. Crucial elements of sales page. All right, so much. Less is more. Different funnel for different price points. Clear priorities, what to do. All right, fantastic. I think, would you guys agree that there was a lot of value here? And light on pitching, high on content? Yes? All right, cool. That's what we aim to do. John, thank you so much for your time and your contribution. We should have the recording up in Simplero University, I would assume. No promises, but I don't see why that wouldn't be the right place for it. We can throw it in with where the other one is. Yeah, any final parting thoughts, John?
No, I just, apart from go set up an order bump. Right. Just do it. Because what happens, right? You do it and then you go, oh, that worked. And then you'll want to do the rest of it, and right. It's like a really quick, easy win, gets you started, like a gateway drug to funnels. So yeah, yes. Go try it out.
All right. We want you to win. We want you to make tons of money with your courses and be a happy person and have a phenomenal life. So that's what we're here to help you do. I hope we fulfilled the mission today. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. Thank you, John. Have an amazing rest of your Monday and week. And bye, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys.